Hey guys, it's Eric.
I'm John.
That be Tim. And we are D&D miniature board games, guys. Hey, so we just got done playing Siege of the Citadel, Mutant Chronicles. And as you guys know, we got done playing. We score, we talk about it, we do our thing. We score on 5 categories: graphics and art, rulebook, components, replayability, and overall fun, with a score of 1 to 5, with 3 being average, 1 being crap, and 5 being outstanding.
Arr.
Arr. Arr, matey. Tim, would you like to do optics and graphics?
Offics. I think that the graphics and artworks for the game were pretty daggum good. A lot of good artwork in the rule books. Cards got a lot of good artwork on them. I like the little reference cards that they give you. Easy to see them. So I gave graphics and artworks a 4.
Can I?
Don't let him do it. Do yours. Go, John.
I'm going to go next.
John's going to go. That was my plan all along.
So today, I'd like to go over graphics and artwork. No, I gave graphics and artwork 4 as well. While I like the graphics and artwork overall, there was just a few areas just somewhat on the boards, a little bit dark in spots as you put things together. And I just thought there could be a little bit more color in a few spots, just to move it on to that next level. Some of the door cards, not that again, it's just me being a little picky. They were a door, just kind of bland when you were looking at it. Look at that. No, but no, it was overall good. Just didn't think it was a 5.
So, I played first edition of this, and I think it was 93 the first edition came out. I played a lot of first edition of this. Graphics and artwork, it was good in the 93 edition. I thought it was outstanding in this one. I gave graphics and artwork a 4. The reason that it wasn't on a 5, I just felt that the print on the cards was a little bit small. And for those of us who don't read small print very well, it was a little bit difficult sometimes. And when you're playing a game, and small print can affect that game. If it's taking you a long time to read something, or you miss something, or you read it wrong, so I gave it a 4. But that was the only thing. I thought, as far as, I even said it when we did the unboxing, I said, Tim's going to love the artwork and graphics in this game. And we all gave it a 4.
I liked it.
Rulebook.
Go ahead.
It's a rulebook. You can set up the game. You can begin play. You can find information relatively easily. Is it above and beyond? No. Is it horribly put together? No. It's a rulebook. It's a 3.
John?
For this rulebook, I gave this rulebook a 4. I actually like this rulebook. Now, my reading through the rulebook, when I was reviewing, I was reading it in PDF, going through, just because I didn't have the nice paper copy. But for those of you that go through and play a lot of games, and you're looking to see if you can follow a rulebook on PDF, reading through, and you can actually flow through it to where it's making sense, because a lot of times you'll have a rulebook that's going to kick you around a little bit. This one while it would reference, you'd have a small reference, okay, that it's going to talk a little bit more about in this other area. It flowed well enough to where you weren't having to jump and not remember what was talked about. It wasn't overly complicated. You could go in and just pick it up and then do a couple checks as you're playing through the game. But I thought it was a well-constructed rulebook. Good job. Orthogonally.
Listen, I originally was thinking about giving this rulebook a perfect score. When I read it, I understood what was going on. I understood how the certain things happened. And there were some things that I had to go back and look at and read, but I was able to flip to them quickly because I remembered where they were. The only reason I gave it a 4 was because I wasn't sure if it was because of my knowledge of the original game that made this game easier for me to understand. So I didn't want to unfairly give this a 5 based on the fact that I played the first edition so much that did I just understand it because I played the first edition?
Good decision.
Yeah.
I'm going into components, damn it. I gave components a 4 as well. Listen, I loved everything, every aspect about this. The Legion figures, I thought they were outstanding. I painted them, and they paint really nicely. They've got good detail. They're well made. The game boards are a little bit large, which made some warp up a little bit on the end. But then you have the player trays. The player trays are outstanding. They're not as outstanding, in my opinion, as the first edition, but they're almost as good. Where this thing fell from a 5 to a 4 was the corporation figures. You guys did such a great job on the Legion figures. You guys did such a great job on the player dashboards. But then the corporation figures were like, they're like cheaply done. They're thin. I didn't even really want to paint them up because paint's just going to fleck off of the swords when they bend. They just aren't as... to me, they didn't seem as nice as the Legion figures. It was like you had 2 different people doing the design for figures. But they weren't that bad that it dropped it down to a 3. It stayed a 4. I don't know. I think you guys dropped the ball on the corporation figures. Guys?
So for components, even though I looked at that and thought about it, I still gave components a 5. Just...
Are you asking or telling?
No, I'm telling you. I put it in the question because the overall for this, there were so many things that were excellent. What you mentioned with the Doom Troopers, that is the one area. I forget one of the figures I was looking at. I was like, wait, where's the other arm? I can't see the other arm. And I think that was with Oshiro Makiko. I was trying to look to see. So definitely on that aspect, they didn't quite seem the same quality. But everything else, to me, was done above and beyond that made up a little bit for that flaw. So while I did give it a 5 because I thought things were great. Go ahead, Tim.
Wait, I forgot one thing. So many of you may not realize that the sticker package that comes in your Kickstarter is actually for what you originally think is your card holder, is actually part of the board for one of your scenarios. It's a set of stairs. And the stickers themselves make up the stairs and the sides of this. I actually thought that was pretty cool. Because the first edition one, though, it had the, if I remember correctly, the bricks were imprinted. And the stairs had like a gravelly look to them. But the only thing is, and it goes along with components, and this is another reason, is, one, it didn't tell you what the stickers went to. I guessed. And 2, it doesn't tell you that the stairs are different sizes and that the side ones are angled. So if you start to put them on and aren't paying a lot of attention, you're putting them on in the wrong spots. Guys, the stairs have a narrower for the top stair and it's wider for the bottom. And you have an angle on each one of the walls if you haven't put your stickers on, okay? Still a 4. Tim?
I gave the components a 4.
This is a 4 too, John.
I actually took the cards. I consider are part of the components, and where John mentioned them in graphics and artwork, I mention them here because I look at the card and the print on the card as being the component of the game. And I think that some of the print is really small to read. And I'm not blind like all these other assholes.
We read books.
Yeah.
Rule books.
And then the warpage of the tiles. You know, if the tiles were probably a heavier construct, they wouldn't have warped so bad. I thought the figures were excellent. My guys that I used, the only one of them has a blade, and it's pretty hefty. So I didn't really notice the details that these guys had with theirs. But I think I thought the figures, the detail on the figures are pretty freaking good. I liked them. I think they would have been even more awesome if they had been done in pewter. Just because there's so much armor, and armor looks better when it's super shiny or bloodstained, whatever.
So if I'd actually finished painting the hero, the corporation figures too, well,
No.
I guess I know what I'll have to do next week. But they can get flowers then.
So
Replayability.
I'll roll into replayability then.
Hold on then, buddy.
Hey, I don't have any dice.
I got 2.
I got 2
All right, so I got.
on a reroll.
With black dice.
I gave the replayability a 5. I think that there's not. You could replay the same scenario 2 or 3 times in a row and not have the same outcome. The Legion cards are random. Your dice rolls are, it's feast or famine. And I think it just adds a lot to the game as far as that goes. And I think it makes the game easy and enjoyable to replay. Did I mention I gave it a 5?
Yes.
Okay.
John?
You did. You gave it a 5. While I agree with everything that you said, I ended up doing replayability as a 4 because while there's, yes, you can replay the same mission over and you can either go between campaign mode or going into just a single match. You do have that option. I kept thinking about the scenario book that's provided, or the mission book, I believe is a correct term because it's sitting right in front of me. There's, what is it, about 2 missions that are in there?
2 campaigns, 5 missions each.
Yeah, 2 campaigns, 5 missions each. So while there's, that's a decent amount as you go through. I think once you reach that point, I don't know. Yeah, you could replay and do that. So there's going to be replayability, but I didn't see it quite as a 5. It's something that you're going to want to play and go through because it's going to have that random factor. But I just didn't feel a 5. I thought it was above average.
You know what? It doesn't matter what you think.
That's right. 4. Go ahead.
Alright, so, hey, replayability. John hit on the thing that I was going to say, that there's only 2 campaigns, 5 missions each in the mission book. Now, obviously, with the expansions that are coming, that's going to add on to the missions. It's going to give you more tiles, more cards to play with. I also have, I keep going back to the original game. I did like also that you have a choice of 3 different characters. You have the what was it called? The tech,
Yeah.
the shooter, and the close combat.
Shooter.
And you had your choice you know what I mean. You had your choice between those 3 and picking. That adds on to its replayability. The other thing you see too is, and we saw it tonight while we were playing this with different people playing the Dark Legion, is different ways that people play the Dark Legion. And I still, because I know how I would have played it, and I didn't get a chance to, but
He tried to be the pirate.
had I, the way it was getting played, you know. But anyways.
Whoa. Whoa. Shots fired.
Shots
Whoa.
I gave replayability a 4 though, just based on the base game. The base game has 2 campaigns, 5 missions each.
The balls on
It's
him.
got
Now I don't want to play.
it's got a higher replayability than normal. It's not average because you have different people playing. You can switch out your characters, and once you level up in the missions, you have your different choices of weapons, which adds on to how it plays differently. I mean, you could take the Deathlock Drum, you could take the Guinea Puker, you could take the Violator combo, which gives you the sword and the carbine. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go with this that it adds to it. But I gave it a 4 because I think we're still, with what's currently with the base game, you're still stuck with 2 campaigns and 5 missions. Overall fun?
Go ahead.
I gave overall fun a 5! Because I like Mutant Chronicles. I love Siege of the Citadel. I loved this back in the 90s. And I love it now. And I had introduced Glenda to it before. Though she doesn't remember, it was like almost 20 years ago that I introduced her to it. But I had fun being able to introduce John and Tim to it, and they finally, after the first, I think it was like somewhere into the second game that we were playing, they realized, I think, why I enjoyed this game so much. The semi-cooperative of this game, really, the semi-cooperative of this game is, you're all trying to complete the mission, but you're trying to get more points than the other corporations. That's the whole name of the game, is your corporation's got to end up on top. Which is where sometimes when playing the Legion helps, because if you play the Legion correctly, you get a lot of points.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
2 times.
John?
Umbrella Corp, maybe. Well, I gave fun a 5 as well. It was a lot of fun. I don't have to talk as much as he did to tell you it was a lot of fun. Go ahead, Tim.
I'll do even better than that. And I gave it a 5.
Dramatic pause complete.
Crickets? Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Oh, there's hostility in the room.
Is there hostility in the room?
You can cut it with.
Yeah, but guys, this is how you play Siege of the Citadel. You got to throw shots like that because it carries to the next games. You've got to continue that momentum so that the next games, it's like, oh, I remember what you said. You're going to burn in hell.
I'm gonna shoot your guys in the back.
Go ahead. You get negative points for it unless it's part of your secondary mission.
Guess what? It's alright, because sometimes negative points are worth it. Right now, yep, got enough points to go negative.
Sometimes you gotta sacrifice.
Overall score, guys. 4.3, Siege of the Citadel, Mutant Chronicles, 2nd edition. This, even on unboxing, this game, I don't know if you guys have read some of the comments, this game, people decided not to back it. People already said things about the figures and stuff. Sometimes we get too used to let's say it, Cool Mini or not, Second Gate Games, some of the other companies that they're just such top-notch miniatures that we forget that it's the game. I mean, some of these games, this one, it's going to be just as fun if you had cardboard counters. You got miniatures. So they're not exactly what you expected. But if the only reason you're buying a game is for the miniatures, you might be looking at it wrong.
That's pretty deep.
Well, it is 11:30, almost 12 o'clock at night. And I shot so many shots across the bow, I had to go deep. 4.3, guys, overall score. As always, support your local gaming. We support
Discover Games, Fayetteville, Georgia.
and Huge Miniatures, which sent us the grass tufts for the miniatures for our Dark Legion figures, which right now you're probably seeing close-up pictures of. John's holding it up. Hey, check out their website. You'll see a link at the bottom in the comments. If you do paint miniatures and you need static grass, grass tufts, foliage clumps, check them out. Pretty decent prices, and the product is really nice. I use it on all my miniatures. As always, guys, game on.
Game on, folks.
Game on.